Corso and Catone.
I think, listen, Mark, listen, hold on. When I say, would you have caffeine today?
What the hell is that up to then?
Presented by Special Sauce Podcast, Studio 42 Design, and Corso Law Group. Now for the real deal New England feel, Corso and Catone.
Good afternoon. I am Corso. Oh, no, I'm not Corso. I'm Catone. Hey, where is Corso? I don't know. We're going to get to that, though, Joe. So I'm Corso, and no, I'm Joe. I'm not Corso. I'm Catone. So
I don't even know who he is.
I don't even know. I'm all confused without my partner today. But this is Corso and Catone, and Joe has come in from the booth to help me out today.
I am Joe Booth.
Right, you're in from the booth, and I hope you're watching us today on YouTube and listening on iHeartRadio and Apple Podcast or wherever you're listening, whatever podcast you're listening to. And as always, we hope today that you can call in or you call in during the week to our heated hotline, 855-313-PATS, 855-313-7287, and give us a call because we've had some pretty good heated hotlines over the last few weeks.
There we have.
And, so if we can continue to do that, that'll be great. Because that's been something that's been really good. So this week, Joe, how's your week been? We know Chris's week has not been good since
Chris's week has not been good. I'll tell you one thing. You said it right before we started the show. My week has started off. I feel like Brian Hoyer jumping right into the mix over here.
Wow, nice analogy, Brian Hoyer. That's gonna be interesting.
I was him,
Yeah. So he's under the weather. He's, of course, he's soft, Joe. He's always got something. And always got some kind of hangnail. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Mark and I put him on the IR list for the day, but he'll be back tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. He'll be here tomorrow for the post-game show. He promises us he will be here. So tomorrow, don't forget, half hour after Pats in Green Bay tomorrow, we will have Patriots post game, and it will be Chris sitting in the booth along with myself and Joe. So, Joe, today we're gonna have to go through and preview this Green Bay and New England game. And you brought up Brian Hoyer, so we got a lot to talk about because Hoyer will be playing for Mac Jones. We're gonna get into our offensive and defensive keys to victory once again, as we always do. We're gonna give you our game predictions, and we're going to have a special treat for you today. At the end of the show, we're going to have our Sunday spread, a little bit of a tease. Because Chris is not here today, we're not going to do our full Sunday spread segment as we planned. I'm going to save that for next week with him. But we are going to tease you a little bit, and I will give you my lock of the week at the end of the show today. But you make sure you write it down, Joe, because I'm not going to listen to him next week tell me that I lost. Oh, you didn't win. So, but that's at the end of the show. I'll make sure I give you that. So that's our tease for this week. But the most important thing is Patriots, Green Bay. Let's get into it. Joe?
Yeah, let's do this. You know what? Let's start off with the preview.
So, Joe, you actually set it up at the beginning, saying you'll feel like Brian Hoyer today. You're filling in. So, you know what? With that, we might as well start with the offense. Okay.
The talk of the town is Mac Jones. What's the story? High ankle sprain. Is he out? Is he in? Surgery? All those things. I dump it over to you as one of the fans. What do you think, Mark? What do you think of all this?
Well, yeah, he's out. Obviously, they ruled him as out. For those of you that did not, for some reason, watch the game last week, on the last play of the game, Mac Jones gets his ankle rolled up on by Calais Campbell of the Baltimore Ravens. Can't even walk off the field under his own power, is carried off the field, goes into the locker room, has x-rays. And yes, as the fear originally was maybe something was broken, but it is a severe high ankle sprain. That's typically 5-6 weeks you're out when you get a high ankle sprain. then there was the thing, well, maybe if you have surgery, you can come back a little sooner. There's a couple of procedures that they can do to fix that. But
Yeah,
he don't want surgery. So that's the other thing that came up this week was, there's a disagreement between Patriots and him. They want him to have the surgery. He wants it to heal naturally and go from there. And it appears that he's going to win out, Joe. And I don't think he's having surgery.
I mean, it's like 6 to 6. What'd you say? 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
You throw in surgery in the mix. It's like that's a potential another 2 more weeks after that in case some infection or something like that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
they're professional sports, but they're not superhuman.
Yeah, whenever you go into the night, if you have surgery, you never know what the complications can be, and I don't think it appears he's not doing that. So, with that said, we're not going to see him for the next few weeks, at least. So, Brian Hoyer, Joe brought him up in the intro. He's going to be the starting quarterback tomorrow. We might as well jump right into quarterback. So, last time we saw Brian Hoyer was not good. Struggled last year not last year, 2 years ago against Kansas City. We really could have won that game. He had some picks. That was when Cam Newton was out, looked awful.
Right.
So what, we thought, Chris and I thought they only signed him again this offseason to basically be like a quarterback coach for Mac Jones because Joe Judge and Patricia, are imbeciles. So now he's thrust into the starting job once again. And he's not going to have one of the key Patriot receivers either. He's not going to have Jacoby Myers, who was listed as out. So that's going to be an issue for Brian Hoyer. Let's look at what the Patriots are going to have to do in this game.
Let's see it.
Green Bay Packers, Joe. Green Bay has a fantastic edge to their defense. Rashawn Gary is one of the best edge rushers in the NFL.
Right.
Okay. And so he moves from side to side. He doesn't sit on one edge. So he's going to be going up against Trent Brown or Isaiah Wynn, which doesn't make me feel very confident because, as Chris has been saying, since the summer, he's afraid of the tackles. He's afraid of our tackles. This could be the game that our tackles could get exposed. So a key to us on offense, can they protect Brian Hoyer if they're going to throw the football? It's going to depend on the tackles because Rashawn Gary, as I said, is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And on the other side, they got Preston Smith, who also can come off the edge and get to the quarterback. Last year, those two guys, Joe, had 18 and a half sacks.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, you look at somebody like Hoyer in the backfield and you think that, why is Mac Jones out in the first place? They couldn't protect him. All right. 600-pound, 300-pound, 6 foot change guy land on his ankle. And Hoyer's, he's my height. I think he's like, 5'10", 5'11", something like that.
That's all he is. Not a big guy, Joe.
But they trusted him to come in. And, I feel like I'm one of those guys who I feel like Hoyer's always been like an Edelman. He's got heart. But if you don't give someone like that heart, when everybody's playing their own thing because everybody's doing their job, there's no team effort. And somebody like that gets, he loses his value really quickly, no matter what type of playbook he knows. And he's been all over the league, so he knows quite a bit. You know what I mean? I trust in him, but it's also like when the rest of the team's not playing up to par, it's like Hoyer then becomes really, really questionable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So based on what you just said, Joe, right? What do you do to protect him? What do you do based on what you just said? If you're the Patriots on offense, what are you going to do to try to give him the best chance of winning the game? I just explained to everyone about the two edge rushers, right? Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith. You're going to have to what? You're going to have to run the ball, right?
Play options, some fakes, things like that. Things that McDaniels would do.
Things that McDaniels would do. So I think tomorrow on offense, one of the keys is going to be running the football. They're going to have to really use the combination of Harris and Stevenson tomorrow. Tomorrow, you may have to try to develop that dominant running game and put you're going to have to put Hoyer in short yardage passing situations.
Yeah.
2nd and 4, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. If he's in 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, 2nd and 10, you're going to get blown out tomorrow.
Right.
You're going to have to shorten this game up for him, establish the run, and allow him, Joe, as you said, do some of the things McDaniels used to do. Create short yardage 2nd and 3rd downs for him. So you're going to have to, that's going to be important to run the ball on 1st down.
And this team's done it before. Don't forget, we did it in Buffalo, and we did it well. Remember that game? They couldn't.
We did, yeah.
Had high winds.
And Joe, you're right. So we have done it.
We've done it. This team has done it. This whole squad. So it's like we've done it before. I came out with a win. And can you do that again? I'm sure they could.
Well, listen, they're going to have to try and do that, I think, to win this game. Is the running game is going to have to be a key, because you're not going to let him go back and throw the ball 30 times, I don't think. If he's throwing the ball 30 times tomorrow, we're losing on offense, okay? And if we're going to run the ball, the inside linebackers for Green Bay, okay, Devontae Campbell was an all-pro last year. He led the team with 145 tackles. He had 2 sacks. He had 2 interceptions. He's their best inside linebacker. And the other inside linebacker they have is the rookie, Quay Walker, who Chris loved coming out of the draft out of Georgia. He was 2nd in the team in tackles in week 1. So they've got 2 real good inside linebackers. So we're talking about the running game, right?
Right.
They are going to have to run the ball, which brings me to they may have to utilize what they haven't utilized, which they've utilized, but everybody's criticized them for. They may have to go to that zone stretch blocking, more of that Mike Shanahan, San Francisco 49er type of running game to be effective tomorrow, because of the inside linebackers that Green Bay has. I don't know if we'll be able to run through those A gaps like we typically like to do, off center, off guard. I don't know if that'll be there tomorrow with those inside linebackers. So you may have to do more of that zone stretch blocking and running tomorrow with Stevenson and Harris.
Yeah.
I
totally agree. And that's 2 guys, right? So then who else on the O-line? Who has to step up? Who hasn't? So
I definitely think that the tackles. We mentioned the tackles right off the bat. I think Wynn and Trent Brown are going to have to play big games because of the edge guys that they have in the pass rush and just sealing the edge in the run. They can obviously do that. And then, so I think those guys are going to have the big games. But I think the guy who has struggled a bit, who hasn't really played his best ball, also is David Andrews from the center position. I think he really has to set himself and set that. If we're going to run the ball up the middle in between the guards in the center, he's going to have a huge game. Cole Strange has been up and down.
Yeah. There's 2 guys, Strange or him. I was thinking the same exact thing going. Those are the 2 guys who got to pick it up, because they got to start creating. Somebody's got to create some of these holes.
Somebody's going to have to create something, because in the middle of that line for Green Bay, they got a big defensive tackle, Kenny Clark, who's tough to move out of there. So, he's also tough. Green Bay, which everyone talks about Aaron Rodgers and that offense. Yeah. That's not what Green Bay has become this year. Green Bay has struggled on offense, but they have one of the better defenses in the NFL. So we're going to have to try, which people really haven't talked about much this year, Joe. They keep talking about Aaron Rodgers, they're struggling, but they got a defense that's a championship defense. But for the first time in years, I don't know if Green Bay has a championship offense. So defensively, it's going to be, they're going to be very formidable for us. And I also think tomorrow, Joe, the tight ends are going to be vital. And we've talked about this for the last couple of weeks.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Because they play a big part of that, those play action fakes, things like that potentially they can scoot out to the, to the outside edge and get a quick dump off and or let's cross the middle, something like that. But those are big guys that you need to use now. It's like we have seen Hunter Henry a little bit here and there. I think they're guys who want to play, want to get in on it, on the game action here, and they haven't done any of that stuff yet, like really done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really.
And Jonnu Smith, you're speaking of the play action. He's somebody that I know Chris has been saying every week. You have to figure out a way to get him the ball.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do that tomorrow, because I think the tight ends are going to play a vital role as well, because Green Bay has a real good secondary. They got Jair Alexander. They got Adrian Amos. They got Donnell Savage back there. They got a young kid, Eric Stokes, who's coming on every week, who they think could be a potential star. I don't think our wideouts, without Jacoby Myers, I don't think Bourne and Devontae Parker, I don't think our wideouts are going to have a good day at all. I think they're going to get shut down. I think we're going to win this game with the running game, with the tight ends, playing ball control, controlling the clock. It's going to be an old style New England Patriot type of a game. And I hate to bring up 2001, 2003, 4, those early championship years where we controlled clock, controlled the game that way, is going to be the way we're going to have to stay competitive tomorrow in Green Bay with our offense. So we're going to have to protect Hoyer.
Yep.
We're going to have to set him up in short passing situations because of the running game.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have to, I believe, Joe, get the tight ends involved, because I just don't think that the wide receivers are going to be a factor against the Green Bay secondary. And I think the running game is going to have, we're going to have to see a lot more of that new style running game, I think, tomorrow, because of the inside of that line. I think you may see more of a stretch type of a run. And I think, play action, you mentioned, Joe, they're going to have to do things that they haven't done a lot of this year. It looks like to me, in order to stay competitive in this game with Brian Hoyer.
I'd say I think that Brian Hoyer has a better understanding of those types of things, because I think a lot of other teams have used him in that same way.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You got to use the things that are going to win for the quarterbacks in the slot, right? I know they made most of the playbook for Mac Jones, but this stuff happens. You can't hope for Hoyer to be just sitting on the bench coaching them. That's
a great point, Joe. Hoyer's not going to be throwing the ball downfield like Jones was. That's a great point. They're going to have to keep things short in front of him and let him, methodically take us down the field and be patient.
So that being said, when we dump it over to the other side now, defense, what do you think? What's happening over here?
So, believe it or not, I think our defense will match up well against Green Bay. I really do. I think that Green Bay's offensive line has been suspect. They've had some injuries.
Yeah.
I think the key to victory tomorrow is going to be, for our defense, is going to be our D line. It's going to be it's going to be Judon and Uche. I think it's going to be the edge guys, especially a guy like Judon, because Aaron Rodgers, Joe, is miraculous at he's back to pass.
Yeah.
He slides around to the outside, throws the ball out of the pocket or runs, but he slips to the edges, and that's where he makes a lot of his plays. He spins around and goes to the edges and either runs with it or a receiver breaks free and he throws the ball up downfield and the receiver's there. So last week, Chris had brought up a play where they were rushing Jackson, and Judon takes the inside route instead of sealing the edge, allows Jackson to go out the back door. That's what Rodgers does too. So guys like Judon are going to have a big game, and I think if he can seal those edges, if you could seal those edges, Christian Bondmore tomorrow, if we win the game, here's one of my predictions. If we win the game tomorrow, Christian Bondmore is going to be maybe be a potential Sunday seat. Sit in the Sunday seat, it may be Christian Bondmore, because I honestly think you're going to have to pressure Aaron Rodgers up the middle, that old adage like they used to say with Brady. Pressure him get in his face.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna emphasize a little bit more the fact that Judon, the last game he had a couple of rushes and they almost had him, and those two, I think it was 2 sacks that he almost had, potentially turns the favor at the time of the game that it happened, turns the favor potentially in ours, only because of them being at a deficit or keeping the score at the same spot. So in this case, you're right. I think Judon needs to step up huge, and they need to just let him play. Just unleash him, Lawrence Taylor style. Just let him go and forget the do your job bullshit, because that stuff that really irks me, because it's like, I get it. I understand if you're just doing your job, but when you do your job individually, there's no room for team. There's no room to potentially make mistakes, but make mistakes in a good way that you kind of figure out a play of theirs or something like that. You know what I mean? Something that will help in a mistake. But Judon needs to get in, give him the pressure, because he is one of those people, Rogers, just like Brady. If you give him pressure just enough, you keep it on him, he starts losing quick, and he starts chucking the ball, just chucking and making magic happen, but not always. You know what I mean?
No.
That's potential, potential McCourty interception right there. You know what I mean?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Joe fired up. We got him out of the booth. He's fired up.
I'm ready to rock over here.
He's ready to go. Joe's ready to go. So,
wearing red sleeves by the end of tomorrow.
No, Joe, that's a great point. You know what? Let Judon loose. I mean, and like you said, Belichick was the defensive coach with the Giants. You mentioned Lawrence Taylor. Like, do some of those things with this guy.
I don't know why that hasn't happened yet. And there was a couple of flashes that I saw it, and I saw it again last week, and he just missed a couple. I think Uche needed to step up too. Both those guys getting in there and just keeping the pressure on him. I know it's going to be tough, but this game potentially to keep it close and come out with a victory is going to be on both defenses, and our defense especially right there at the line.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah, so I think some of the keys on defense, and you mentioned Judon, and he's a key, and we're going to have to seal the edge with Rodgers because he slides out, right? And we talked about that, right? We talked about that. So that's a key. And I think Bondmore is going to be important tomorrow. He's going to be a key to our defense winning tomorrow, because Lawrence Guy, it appears, is going to be out again. And he anchors that defensive middle front. We're not going to have him available tomorrow. It doesn't appear. So
check the injury report, see who else.
Yeah, so Christian Bondmore, I think, is going to have a real big game. And I'm going to tell you something. Green Bay I'm going to tell you why Bondmore is going to be important. Green Bay has one of the best 1-2 punches in the running back position in the entire NFL, in Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, okay? So they're almost like thunder and lightning, right? So you got Aaron Jones, who's fast and speedy and shifty, and you got A.J. Dillon, who's just a battering ram, okay? So you're going to have to keep those two guys under containment to force, and I don't believe I'm going to say this. Force Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball, because Rodgers don't have the receivers he's had in the past. Okay. Yep. And we'll get into that in a couple of minutes, but you're going to have to, the edges, Judon, Uche, they're going to have to seal the edge. But more importantly, and if Chris was here, he'd be going crazy. Juwan Bentley, and I'm mentioning Bentley for you, Chris. I know you're under the weather, but I'm going to bring up Bentley. Juwan Bentley. And I don't know if I don't think Raekwon McMillan, I don't know if he'll be back tomorrow or not. He's been on the injury report. They haven't ruled him officially out yet, but I think he's going to be out. So I'm thinking between Bentley and maybe Wilson, the other linebacker, Mac Wilson, they're going to have to penetrate, fill gaps, read, shed blocks, because this team is going to run the ball. They're going to attempt to run the ball. So you're going to have your linebackers play a key role in the second level. And Chris and I talked about this last week. That second level of our defense has struggled. the linebackers, and the back end. The corners have been average, they haven't been bad, but our second level last week against Baltimore really struggled. Okay.
Yeah.
The second level is going to be the key to victory tomorrow because Bentley, Wilson, whoever else they bring in there at linebacker, was it Tavon, I think, they're going to have to fill the gaps, shed blockers, and read and move because Jones and Dillon, as I said, are two of the best 1-2 combinations of running backs in the entire league. They're right up there with ours. We say Stevenson and Harris, they're some of the two best running back combinations in the league. Well, Green Bay's right there with them. Okay. So that's going to be interesting because, that's going to be a key to victory tomorrow is can you contain them? Because if they develop the running game and they're just pushing us all over the field running the ball, that's going to open up play action pass. And if the play action pass opens up, Rodgers will kill you. Absolutely kill you.
And I'm with you 100%. I think, usually you and I kind of always fall along the same lines as far as what the thoughts are here because we look at it from the perspective.
But we don't have the technical terminology.
Yeah.
Right?
But we come at, we keep it real. That's what we do here, ladies and gentlemen. New England feel, keeping it real, like you, the fans. That's what you don't hear normally on the flagship stations. I was listening to some earlier today and just nonsense.
Oh, it's all nonsense. All nonsense.
It's like whatever.
Like Chris said, they tell you what we tell you on the spot immediately after a game. They're telling you it 3 days later. But so the play action pass, Joe, you were agreeing with me that you think that's if they run the ball, he'll kill you, Rodgers, if you give him the play action pass.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, and he's one of those guys. He has the potential, like you said. He's still one of those quarterbacks that you forget that he can run, and when you give him the potential, the opportunity to do that, he always pulls a play out of where. I'd say it, but it just doesn't feel right sometimes. Sometimes
you're right.
Pull it out of, and he does, and you're like, come on. And you, especially this season where he had that stuff at the beginning of the season, the hippy dippy horseshit that you were talking about earlier on. You guys are talking about, and the fact that just I don't know, I kind of lost the respect and vibe for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, right. I have too. You know how I feel about Rodgers. I've gone on tangents numerous times on Aaron Rodgers.
Be there, and it's like you can see that, and it's like what? Then play on that. Play on the fact, he's one of those guys. He's doing his job, and it's like no, he's obviously could be better. He should be better. And is it their offensive coordination or whatever it is? The fact that he's another human being. I always look at it from a human perspective. The guy doesn't want to be there, so it's like what? Force him to walk off the field is what we should do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. They gave him all that money, so he stayed. But he didn't get what he wanted. I mean, he lost Devontae Adams is gone, who was his security blanket. He's with the in Las Vegas now with McDaniels. So Rodgers hasn't been the same Rodgers this year without Devontae Adams. He has a new receiving core. Okay, so he has Sammy Watkins, who's been in, every year he seems to bounce to a new team. He's had a couple of okay games, but he really hasn't caught on to what they're doing in Green Bay yet. Maybe he will. He's got Randall Cobb there with him, who's a veteran, who he's used to, but I think his best days are behind him. So Rodgers has been depending on two rookies. Christian Watson, the second-round draft pick from North Dakota State, who the knock on him in college was he would drop too many balls. He dropped like 16, 17 balls during the course of his career, which was like one of the worst drop rates of all receivers in college football. And then he's got Romeo Doubs, who I loved coming out of the draft. They took him in the 4th round. I wanted to take him in the 3rd or 4th round for the Patriots. I think he's got the potential to be a real playmaker in this league. And Rodgers has actually gone to him more and more the last 2 weeks. But if you can stop the running game and force him to throw the ball, Joe, as crazy as it sounds,
yeah,
I think that's our key to victory. Stopping the running game as crazy as it sounds, and forcing Rodgers to throw the ball, because I don't think he has the receivers, or if he does, he's not in tune with them yet because they're new and they're learning the system. They're learning to play together with him. I think that's our key to victory. Make him throw the ball, because I don't think he's going to beat you throwing the ball tomorrow. I think at the end of the day, if we lose, it's because those running backs probably got 150 yards rushing and a couple of touchdowns among the two of them. Yeah. And then Rodgers had like 250 yards passing, 260 yards passing. But you're not going to see the old Aaron Rodgers, I don't think, throwing the ball tomorrow. So let's force him to throw the ball and see if he can do it.
Yeah. And do we have a weather report? Is it going to be cold up there?
I don't know. That's a great question, Joe. You know, you never know up there what the weather's going to be at 4 o'clock.
I know they're
Eastern time anyway, not their time.
Yeah, it's one of again, it's always these little things that you forget to play a part of the whole spectrum, on any game, any given Sunday. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things that helps us or hurts us in one regard. But we're both teams are cold weather teams, and both can play in regardless of what type of temperature it is.
Yeah.
But you got to find the edge any which way you can, especially in a situation when you go and see Aaron Rodgers, where he has the potential to pull something out of his ass. And there it is.
Oh, and yeah, Joe, you said it right. And he always does pull something out of it. Always. And so our keys, well, at least, I think we're pretty much in agreement.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the defense. It's definitely the key in pressure in the defense. And hopefully that pressure means both things, containing the run and forcing the pressure on Rodgers and getting him.
Listen, as crazy as it sounds, make him throw the ball tomorrow. Make him throw it, because I think our secondary can hold up against those receivers. I don't think he has a great receiving core this year. I think our secondary will hold up. The key to victory tomorrow is going to be our defensive line in that second tier, our linebackers and safeties. Supposedly Kyle Duggar's going to play. That's a huge, huge bonus for us if Duggar plays. But our linebackers, safeties, and defensive line has to come up, fill gaps, shed blockers, stop the run, and force him to throw the ball. That's our key on defense, in my opinion, if we're going to end up with a W tomorrow. And on offense, we said shorten up the field for Hoyer, because he ain't going down the field, Joe.
Nah.
Run the game, use your tight ends, short passing game, make it methodical, grind it out, control the clock. We think that's the best chance for victory in that stadium in Green Bay. Anyway.
For sure. 100%. Now, what's the spread on this game?
Green Bay's like 9.5 point favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Green Bay is 9.5 point favorites. And I will, in saying that, Joe, I almost forgot.
Yeah, that's right.
Prediction time.
Yeah,
prediction time. Who do you got tomorrow, Joe?
I'm going to pull it out with the Patriots tomorrow, because I think I'm hoping that what we talked about is actually part of the whole game plan. And I think that they can squeeze it out, and it's going to may actually come down to the kicker tomorrow. And I think my prediction's going to come out Patriots on top, but maybe like a 21-20 sort of situation like that.
21-20. Okay. 21-20.
I called the same score last week, but it's something keeps coming at me. It's saying that those two numbers. I don't know why it is, but maybe it's this week.
So my prediction tomorrow, and listen, I can't go against. I've kind of wavered a little bit during the course of the week as I've looked more into Green Bay offensively and what their offense actually is, but I cannot go against what I said last week, because Chris will kill me. I said to him, we're going to get killed at Green Bay. So I got to stick with my original prediction. I think we keep it close in the first half. I think Green Bay pulls away. I think it's going to be 27-13. I just don't think we can produce enough points with Brian Hoyer. I think that Green Bay defense, which I talked about, will probably get a turnover or two. They'll force Hoyer into a turnover or two that'll create probably a short field.
Yep.
for Rodgers because I really don't think Rodgers' offense is that good this year. But I do think in Lambeau, I'm going to have to go with Green Bay, unfortunately. And like I said, 27-13 tomorrow. And Joe's telling us he likes the Patriots. I know Chris had said to me during the week, he likes the Patriots this week. I don't know about with Mac Jones being out, but he originally told us, right?
I think that's on a different situation, though. That's part of the spread that he likes the Patriots.
With the spread. I'm not picking this game with the spread now. I'm just picking the Patriots to lose. I'm not picking, but speaking of the spread, Joe.
Yeah, I brought it up because I know Chris's prediction was he'd go with the Pats were getting 9 points.
He would take the points. He would definitely take the points. And based on my prediction, I would give the points. 27-13 is 14. So I would give the points with Green Bay, believe it or not, tomorrow, because I just think that New England's going to be overmatched with Hoyer out there. I just think eventually they may be able to figure out how to win with Hoyer at quarterback, but I just don't know if it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be in Lambeau.
Well, I will say this: this week will definitely be the shining moment to see. It'll be glaring whether or not the things we've talked about thus far, the first 3 weeks, is it Belichick? Was it Brady? That's still that same talk is still, needling at the back of our brains as Patriot fans. Like, where is the flair of Belichick? Where's the genius? We want to see it. And I think
this could be the week.
We're not going to see it the rest of the season.
Hey, listen, Joe brings up a point. Let's track that now. He thinks if we're going to see the genius, it'll be tomorrow's game. If not, we don't see it all season. We're going to track that, though. And believe me, we'll track it. Now, predictions. The spread. Sunday spread. I can't wait. Next week, we're going to do something new. We're going to do something called Sunday spread, where Chris and I, and Joe's going to also give us he's going to interject as well, and he's also going to end up picking some games with us. But we're going to analyze and look at some key games moving into Sunday, and we're going to give you our prediction based on the point spread. Listen, you don't have to call up these radios. You don't have to call Vegas, go on these sports apps, pay them money. They take a percentage of your winnings. Listen, we're going to do this for free. You don't need to call, get on any of these apps, and we give you 2 winners. We take 20% of what you win, or you're going to pay an upfront free. Nothing. This is free. Corso and Catone, we're going to give you our winners on a Sunday. Listen to us because we know what we're doing. And as a treat.
Degenerate gambling right here, Corso and Catone.
Listen, as a treat this week, I'm going to give you my lock of the week. Okay?
All right.
I got a lock of the week, Joe, for everybody listening. The Buffalo Bills are 3-point favorites at Baltimore. I know, Buffalo still got some guys on the injury report in the secondary. I'm hoping a couple of those guys are able to play. I'm hoping, because if they are, I just think Buffalo's going to rebound off that Miami game, and they're going to blow out. They're going to blow out Baltimore, because I think Baltimore stinks. I think the Patriots could have very well won that game last week. A couple of breaks, get rid of a couple of those turnovers. As you said, Joe, there was a couple of plays last week. If Judon would have got there, it might have changed the complexion of that game, right? And then Jackson ends up making a play because they let him slide out. I don't think Baltimore's that good. I think they're smoke and mirrors. I think Buffalo is going to give the three. Buffalo is going to destroy the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow in Baltimore.
They have to. They're when you get it again. This is the perspective I always look at: is when you get a team that comes off a loss like that in your own division, and you are as Patriot fans, obviously we're not hoping they're the winners at the end of the season, but they have the best potential because of last season. And they know that too.
Yeah.
So we can't lose to Miami. We can't go in there and lose to Miami and come out, not have a win, and keep moving forward like that, which would potentially make them a stronger team to beat later on. But, they're definitely going to come out on top, I believe, tomorrow Because I agree with you. Jackson's just like I don't know.
I don't know about him.
He had one of those games last week, but with what we talked about, you go, was it him really? Is he doing the things that everybody said he was going to do, or is it he just like?
Well, he
credit for other.
Yeah, he's.
You know,
he made a couple of throws last week. He did, but I think it was more our lack of execution than it was him doing anything spectacular last week, Joe.
Exactly. That's my point. You know what I mean?
So anyway, all right. Listen, it's that time again. I mean, I can't believe how fast today's show went by, Joe. But I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. You know, everybody in the nation for joining us today. Don't forget to get on, listen, watch us this week. Make sure if you are watching us on YouTube, you hit that subscribe button tonight, 7:00. We'll be up, right, Joe?
Yep. 7:00 will be on tonight. And then if you're at home and you're just catching this or seeing this for the first time, right down the bottom right-hand corner of your screen is a little blue QR code that you can just scan, and then that'll bring you to CORSO Catone, our homepage on YouTube and our channel, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get our notification, especially tomorrow, because tomorrow will be 30 minutes following the Patriots Green Bay game, as we previewed today. And so definitely it'll give you the alert when we're going on live, because tomorrow will be a live show. So
yes, as always, every Sunday we're on, or whatever night the Patriots may be playing. It's 30 minutes. We're live after every game. It's the PATS post game show. It's the best post game show, really. I think the only post game show that that's going on, because the rest of them, they're like clowns, right? So if you want to watch the Patriots post-game show, you got to tune in to CORSO and Catone. And CORSO claims he's taking vitamin C. He claims he's going to be with us tomorrow. We got a seat for him. He better be in with us tomorrow, Joe.
He'll be here. He'll be questioned. He was questionable, but we believe he'll be here for sure. So,
all right. With that said, listen, I'm Mark Catone. That's Joe Guarnieri. It's been a great week. Have a great week, everybody. See you tomorrow. Pat's post game, half hour after the game. Take it easy, everybody.